Joining us now is author Gisela Littman, also known as Bat Yaor. Shalom.
Hello, Yoni.
So today we're actually talking about a book written by your late husband. Tell us about this important book and especially the story that it tells us.
So I came here for the launch of my late husband book on Operation Mural. It was an operation which took place in 1961, and the aim was to bring out of Morocco safely Jewish children. In this year, it was forbidden for Jews to leave Morocco. And hence, since Jews wanted to leave Morocco and come to Israel, they were taking a dangerous way to go out of Morocco. And therefore, the Jewish organization has tried to bring them out in a safer way. So I won't tell you the history of this book because it is a complicated history. It is a wonderful history. My husband, as well as young Jews from Morocco living in Casablanca or other places, and also a team from the Mossad, work together clandestinely in order to bring these children to Israel. So they succeeded in having 530 Jews leaving Morocco in well and in security, and they went to Israel. And in fact, recently, because a film has been done on this operation, which has taken the name of my husband, the code name of my husband, Mural, when he was in Morocco. Because of this film, the children who had come out from Morocco when they were 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 8-year-old, now has become grandparents, and they tried to contact us. And we were absolutely amazed by the wonderful story they told us about this travel they made out of Morocco to Israel. They were all extremely happy to have done that, extremely grateful, because they said that coming to Israel has given them a totally different and new life.
Now, when you look back at the story that your husband is telling us about and what we see today, is there something special about the spirit that existed then, or do you see the same thing also nowadays?
Well, it is difficult to say it because I don't know very well the spirit in Israel. But I have noticed that there is much less Zionism. You know, I used to come in Israel nearly every day, sometimes twice a year, nearly every year, sometimes twice a year. And I noticed that the younger generation, the generation that had created the state of Israel, that had fought all those wars in very difficult circumstances, and those who escape from France or from the Arab countries that were where there was a very anti-Semitic atmosphere and culture, were more Zionist than the youth I meet now, who has grown up in much better circumstances and conditions, and who doesn't know at all what is anti-Semitism. But of course I have to be very careful in what I am saying, because I know that the effort the youth is doing in going to the army, in living in precarious conditions in Israel, where there is always insecurity and also the threat of war. So I don't want to accuse this young generation. I know their heroism, their strength, and their dedication to Israel.
Now, regarding the topic that you relate to in many of your stories, many of the things you wrote about, Jews living in Islam countries, Jews living under Muslims, and the challenges, of course, and the difficulties of those Jews. What can you say about what we're seeing today, what we're seeing in terms of radical Islam? As far as the things that you are familiar with, is this at all a surprise?
Well, for those who know some Islamic history, there is no surprise, because what ISIS is doing is what you read all the time in the Muslim and Arab chronicles from the 7th century till the 20th century, with the genocide, for instance, of the Armenian in Turkey. So the conduct of the war, the jihadist ideology, the way it is perpetrated against those who are considered either heretic Muslims or against those who are non-Muslims, this is a very familiar thing in the Islamic history. It is done according to what the Quran is saying, according to the Hadith, according to the jihadist laws. So we don't have to be astonished if it is done like that. It is absolutely fascinating to hear the leader of the jihadists repeating the same sentences that you read in the chronicle of the 8th century, the 10th centuries, by the Muslim general, the Muslim leaders. It is exactly the same mentality, the same view. Nothing has changed. And also, you see that these people know perfectly well the Islamic jurisdiction and the Islamic law and their own history.
So, from your experience and based on what we're seeing these days, how do you look at the way the world relates to radical Islam?
Well, when you say about the world, you mean the Western world. So the Western world had a policy of being allied with Islam, and often with radical Islam. For instance, America was allied with Saudi Arabia and knew very well the mentality and the culture of Saudi Arabia. And Europe was also allied with Iraq, with the leaders of the Muslim countries, Iraq, Mubarak, Syria, before the revolutions. So they have, they don't dare oppose this movement, because it is such a big movement, and they are afraid themselves by the world jihadism. So I think that they don't have a strategy to oppose what is happening, and also they are afraid to provoke more terrorism, more reprisals. So in a way they are cautious, but they don't want also, they use different analysis to hide the truth. The general public is kept in ignorance of the real facts, and there is a kind, it is true that that America is engaged in Iraq, helping also fighting also with the coalition, but nevertheless, and also France, nevertheless, I think that the answer of the Western world, Russia is different, of the Western world is embarrassed, is confused. They don't know how to react, especially that they see all the policy they have planned, which is destroyed now by radical Islam.
Okay, Giselle Littman, Yaor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Yoni. Thank you.